The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations, that's foreign and foreign.
Good evening and welcome back to the Blueprint Podcast. This is, of course, Lowe's Moore. And first of all, I want to start out by asking for an apology. I want to apologize. I was in, which is what our show is about tonight, is about the King movement. And this is a post podcast to the King movement, ninth annual national summit. And I want to apologize because, it was so crazy in Cleveland, Ohio, during that weekend. Man, it was so busy that weekend. It was so many, the week before there was, memorial, funerals, memorials, and, just trying to set up and get everything together and find the appropriate place to do the podcast during the national summit was just, Mike Tyson would say it was ludicrous. It was crazy. And so I want to apologize for that. But I wanted to follow up. I really wanted to follow up. And so to make up for that time, and usually I'm very, very professional and very prepared. It was a crazy, crazy week. But we're going to give you a good show tonight. But I want to start out because it is Women's History Month. We're celebrating Women's History Month. So I want to start out with that, but before I start out with that, I want to ask for prayers for a good friend of ours, my wife and I. We've known Mike Hammett for, God, no. I know my wife. I've known Mike. He was a Boys and Girls Club member, man, and watched Mike as a little guy coming up in the Boys and Girls Club. Tremendous, intelligent, smart basketball player with a beautiful jump shot. It was just a nice, just a nice watching him play. The intelligent, going to Akron to college, and he had some procedures done last week, and we want to wish him well, and we want to wish him a speedy recovery. Please pray for him. Continue to pray for him, man, for a full recovery. Right, I'm already believing for a full recovery, because I know that's how God works. Right, and so we love you, Mike. Man, take your time, rest, and get well. So I want to start out before I get to the women's thing. I want to say, man, how are you guys? Now, look, last year was the first time. I don't even bother with it, even though I love basketball. I don't bother with it by trying to fill out a bracket. I mean, it's just too tedious, man. There's too many things happening. And here's my experience with it real quick. My experiences with it, I never played, even though I played college basketball, but I've never made it to the NCAA. The 64, 68, whatever the teams were at the time, never made it there. But the women and the men's, the Final Four is going to actually be the men's going to be in Phoenix, the women's going to be in Cleveland, which I just left. But it's been so exciting, right? And you just don't know. I was thinking about some things in my first bracket, and my bracket was busted the first game last year. And I decided I'm not even going to do it this year. Just, man, let the chips fall with it, man. Already, man, our brackets are busted already. And I think last year there was only one perfect person that figured this all out. I don't know how the person did it, but I think they won $1 million or something like that for choosing the perfect bracket. But too crazy. But anyway, let me get to it. This is celebrating Women's History Month. And so I want to start out right away with this video on Women's History Month, and particularly this video is around, Black women inventors. So check this out.
Did you know that a black woman invented caller ID, call waiting, and so much more? There are everyday conveniences that we take for granted that are the brainchild of a brilliant black woman inventor. Today, we embark on a journey through time, exploring the lives and contributions of 10 extraordinary black women inventors, whose innovations have shaped the world as we know it. Our journey begins in the late 19th century with Sarah Good. After noticing the cramped living conditions of many urban dwellers, Good designed the cabinet bed, a piece of furniture that could serve as a desk during the day and fold out into a bed at night. A solution that was both practical and innovative, Gouda was the first African-American woman to receive a United States patent. Following closely in Good's footsteps was Alice H. Parker, who, in the chilling winter of 1918, invented the natural gas heating furnace. This invention was a game changer, providing a central heating system that could warm entire buildings. A far cry from the dangerous and inefficient fireplaces used at the time. Fast forward to the mid-20th century and we encounter Lyda D. Newman, a hairdresser by profession and inventor by passion. Newman patented an improved hairbrush design that featured evenly spaced rows of bristles and a detachable backing for easy cleaning. This simple yet effective design revolutionized hair care, particularly for black women. Next on our list is Marie Van Britten Brown. In the mid-60s, Brown designed a home security system that became the predecessor to modern home security technology. With a system that included a camera, monitors, and a two-way microphone, Brown's invention was ahead of its time, laying the groundwork for today's advanced home security systems. As we journey further, we encounter the indomitable Dr. Shirley Jackson. A theoretical physicist, Jackson's research led to the development of call waiting and caller ID, technologies that have become integral parts of our daily communication. Then we have the multifaceted Mary Beatrice Davison Kenner. With 5 patents to her name, Kenner invented numerous devices, including a sanitary belt, a carrier attachment for an invalid walker, and a bathroom tissue holder, demonstrating her diverse interests and innovative spirit. Enter Valerie Thomas, the woman behind the magic of 3D technology. In the early 80s, Thomas invented the illusion transmitter, a device that uses concave mirrors to produce optical illusions, the foundational technology behind 3D movies and television. Last but certainly not least is Dr. Patricia Bath. A pioneer in ophthalmology, Bath invented a laser device for the removal of cataracts, transforming eye surgery and improving the sight of countless individuals worldwide. From everyday conveniences to groundbreaking medical advancements, these 10 black women inventors have left an indelible mark on history. Their inventions, born out of necessity, curiosity, and sheer ingenuity, continue to shape our lives today, reminding us of the power of innovation and the importance of recognizing and celebrating these often unsung heroes. These women, standing tall in the face of adversity, have not only invented products and technologies, but have also crafted a legacy of resilience, determination, and brilliance that continues to inspire and challenge us. Please like, subscribe, and share to help us grow our channel. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Yeah, they're awesome 10 black women, but we celebrate not only black women today, right? We're celebrating tonight on the show, but we're celebrating all women all month long. Some amazing women. And man, you just saw, or you just viewed 10 of them. So congratulations on this women's celebration of women this month, March. I mean, yeah, just awesome. And there's so much more. Hey, the thing is, we need to continue, like Black History Month, we need to continue to celebrate women all year around. No joke, right? There's so much out there to celebrate. So again, thank you. Thanks to all those amazing women, right? And their amazing invention. I learned so much when I was viewing this, and I was like, wow. Yeah, there was a wow moment for me. And so we celebrate not Black History Month, but we celebrate Women's History Month. in this month of March. So, all right, let's move on. Let's get rolling. Let's get rolling here. And I want to start out with my book of the week. As you know, we're going to talk a lot tonight about the King movement. And so I want to start out with this book, True Manhood, right? Coming out of the King movement circle, Chris Broussard and the King movement. He's the president and founder of it. Awesome book. I have this book personally. A lot of good information. Like if you check it out on, I think on Amazon. Make sure you get a copy of it. Hey, man, if you want to, you got a young man out there that you're trying to maximize his manhood, or you got a man out there that you're trying to maximize his manhood, man, check this out. This book, True Manhood. I mean, it's just an awesome book. Awesome read. And it's not that big, so it's quick, right? It's going to go real fast. So, and then the word of the week. The word of the week is strong, right? We're living in a time whereas we just got to figure out how to be stronger. Just we got to trust God and just be strong, man, and just be patient and just hold on. Hey, one thing I found out, man, that people are resilient. Children are resilient, adults are resilient, men and women are resilient. Man, look what we went through. We went through a pandemic, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's gone, but we got through, right? A lot of people didn't get through. Well, we were resilient. We were strong. We stuck together, right? And I say, and I'm going to say this, real quick here, is that we are all stronger together, regardless of race, creed, color. We are all stronger together. We make this world work when we work together, right? And you know what that takes? It takes people who are strong, people who have strength, who are willing to, there's one powerful thing as we watch the NCAA March Madness. One thing it teaches us, right? When we watch the men and women play, right? Look at how the teams rely on each other. Look how the teams lift each other up. Even in a loss, you see how the coaches and how the players keep each other strong, strengthen each other, right? And see how when teams are determined and play together and stay strong together, ultimately they get to win, right? But here's the crazy part, right? At the end of this March Madness, it's only going to be two happy teams, right? The one who won the women's championship and the one who won the men's championship. It's going to be two happy teams, right? So we're going to have to be resilient, right? Because there's going to be 67 teams that did not win, and you've got to learn to be strong, right? So it's awesome. And that's my word of the week. And here's my affirmation. My affirmation is be strong in the Lord. Be strong in the Lord and the strength of his might. Ephesians 6:10. That's our saying for the King movement. When we leave each other, that's the final thing we say to each other. Hey man, how you doing? What's going on? Hey, be strong in the Lord, right? That's our saying, for the King movement. If I'm talking on a Zoom call or I call one of the brothers up, the last thing we say to each other is be strong in the Lord, right? And that's a perfect affirmation, right? That we have to be strong in God, right? We have to trust God and be strong. Right. That's what we're saying to each other when we say that final thing. Hey, brother, see you later, man. I catch you. Yeah. Be strong in the Lord. Right. I love that. So that's the affirmation of the week. And here is our music and movie. Yeah, I had to give it Reflect. That's Donald Cardell. And Donald is the he's one of the main administrators for the King movement, right? Donald is the chair of the New York City chapter, right? And he also works for the King Movement. And Donald is also a Christian rapper. I mean, I had him at church a few years back. He's got several albums out. I mean, talking about social justice issues and different things like that, man. Just amazing artists. There's so many amazing in the King Movement. There's so many brothers that are so talented, dancing, music, acting. I mean, you name it, business, man. I mean, history. There's just so many talented brothers there, man. And I love fellowshipping with those guys. And then here's the movie of the week. I didn't get a chance to see this yet. It just came out. It's called Angels, right? It's a faith movie. It's a powerful story. I didn't get a chance to see it yet, but it's in movies now. Now, look, let me say, you got to, when I say it, you got to go see it. You got to find it and go see it, right? Because one thing about faith movies, right, they ain't in there long. Right, you see it, you got to go see it, right? Because you see it in the paper, you pull it up on, on one of the movie lists, and you see it, you got to go see it because it's going to be out. It's going to be so quick, right? It's going to be out of there. So go check that out, and then here's my person of the week, Chris Broussard. Now, back a few years ago. One of my good friend, Gerald Hoover, right? He called me up. He said, "Hey, man, you got to get on the Thursday." This is back, 9-10 years ago. So I was counting today. This is my 9th year in the King Movement, And of course, I met Chris Broussard back some years ago when we had Ben Gordon Day here in the city of Mount Vernon, Ben Gordon Day, Ben Gordon Weekend, Ben Gordon's Week, right? And Ben had during a disaster. I mean, it was a disaster of a day, man. The roof fell in at the Boys and Girls Club. Tree fell on the roof and, water was everywhere. So I had to handle those business. By the time I got to the bowling alley, right, the person I walked into was Chris Broussard. Right. And of course, Chris, I introduced myself to Chris and he was working with ESPN. Now he's working with Fox Sports 1. He's an anchor up there now, doing a tremendous job, man. He speaks his mind. Right. He loves the Lord. And I mean, he started this movement. Now I think we got 18, 19 chapters and still growing. Right. This past week, we had 400 people at the summit, the national summit. So, I mean, hey, my person of the week, right, is Chris Broussard. I mean, he's the man. Yeah, he's funny too, man. He thinks he can rap. And then here's celebrating Women's Month. Michelle Obama is the person that I selected, man. In 8 years, I mean, I don't know about you guys, right? In 8 years, I think we had not the best president, right? And we had the best first lady in those 8 years. Man, she was classy, man. She was intelligent, right? I mean, she made us all proud. And so I celebrate Michelle Obama doing this as we celebrate Women's History Month in this March. I celebrate Michelle Obama. I say our first lady forever. Yeah. So I'm psyched. Here's some birthday shout outs to my cousin. What? Shannon. Yeah. Shannon's birthday is today, 3/24. Happy birthday, Shannon. Man, love you many more. Right. And then, Lena. Lena's birthday is today. Man, Sister Lena. Woo. There was a lady in our church, man, Arlene Rice. And man, I used to say when Sister Rice used to sing, I mean, it did something to me, right? It just messed me up. And then when Sister Lena, Sister Arlene is no longer with us, but Sister Lena just kind of stepped in, man. And then when Sister Lena sings, man, I mean, we all pay attention, man. Just a beautiful, gifted voice. Lena, happy birthday and many, many more. All right. Yeah. Next week, join me next week on the podcast. We have the tribute. James Jimmy Jones, Big Red. Right. This is my dad, my mentor, my coach. Right. Not just for me, but so many of us. When you think of Jimmy Jones, you got to think of guys like Rudy Hackett, Earl Tatum, right? You got to think about Gus Williams and Ray Williams, and you got to think about Rodney and Scooter McCrae and so many others that he impacted. His impact on the Mount Vernon School District, his impact on the Boys and Girls Club, right? And his impact on the world of basketball. We're going to be bringing some folks on next week to talk about Jimmy Jones. We were at the memorial on Saturday last week, and it was a picture of him up there. And Pastor Garner said, if we had a celebration for Mr. Jones, right? If we tried to surprise him and had a big dinner, for Mr. Jones, he wouldn't have been there. Right? You just could not catch up with this guy to honor him, man. He just did what he did, but in his that he's no longer here, we're going to celebrate him. We're going to bring on some of the old players, let them tell some of the stories about him, man. We're going to celebrate him just like we did his brother CJ when he passed away. CJ was my first coach, and he sent me to Mr. Jones, right? These guys were legends in the city of Mount Vernon, man, and they will be truly missed, right? There's no people like them, right? But we truly miss him already. We truly miss CJ. We miss Miss Brown, and we miss Mr. Coleman. So look forward to that next week on the Blueprint Podcast. And I think I got a video here I want to show about the King movement, and we're going to get right into this.
King is a national Christian men's movement that stands for knowledge, inspiration, and nurture through God. And our goal is to help strengthen men in their daily walks with Christ.
When you bring brothers from all across the nation, it's something special that you can't put a price tag on.
We're really in this. It's not just a name, and it's not just, a club or a group that you just kind of in and out. No, we're asking brothers to really step up and say, hey, I want to be the man God called me to be. I'm going to memorize scripture. I'm going to study the word. I'm committing to living this thing out and living it out in fellowship with other men of faith.
We hope to inspire men to really follow the Lord. We get guys charged up, guys are really ramped up and amped up after being with so many men who are focused on the Lord. And we just want them to carry that back into their communities, and that's really what we're looking to do.
Yeah, I want to welcome as my first guest, Norman Leonard from Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland, this is for you. Oh man, thanks a lot, Norman. You guys were amazing, man, in Cleveland. Last weekend, you guys were amazing. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I had to leave on Saturday, but man, Pastor D was there and Patrick was there from the Westchester crew. But it was 400 men there, man. So Norman, talk to me about number one, you're the big man in Cleveland, so and you're a diehard Cleveland Cavaliers fan, and you got one of my homeboys over there on the team, man. You got Donovan Mitchell there, and so. But talk to me real quickly about how you got involved with King, and your thoughts about it. How long have you been in? Number one, okay. How long have you been in the King movement?
Yeah, so just first, thanks for having me on, Brother Lowe's. I appreciate it. Honestly, I feel like it's been about 10 years now. I feel like, so my my son was involved with Cub Scouts, and one of the dads had invited me out to a king meeting that they was having at the library, local library. And I walked in the room, I seen, you know, several brothers, you know what I'm saying, and talked to the brothers, and you got this brothers from this church, brothers from this church, brothers from that church. I'm like, okay, like, so all y'all brothers go to different churches? Like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see this. You know what I'm saying? I don't see brothers in different churches hanging out with one another. You know what I'm saying? And then I seen that they had the mission statement about what King was about, and I was blown away. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, this is what's missing. You know what I'm saying? This is what's missing not only in my life, but I see this is what's missing in the body of Christ, and the church as a whole. And I'm like, man, if we, this could be so big if we all jump on, like, if we see this, and like this is something that could bring us all together, unite the body, you know what I'm saying, and build men up from the bottom to the top. I'm like, man, we can change this nation. We can really change this nation. We can change our communities and our nations, because I seen something that was so big. I mean, something that was so needed. Strengthening men, we strengthening one another, sharpening one another, and man, an opportunity for us to do that together and show the world that, there's no brotherhood like a kingdom brotherhood.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So I jumped on it, and I've been involved ever since. Just hit the ground running, really.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about this past weekend, man, being at the in Cleveland, being the host, you guys hosted and stuff like that. Yeah, talk, because many times when I first came, we were in Arena, Ohio, right? And the first time I was there, I was, I think, Dr. Sherrill was with me. Dr. Peter Sherrill was there.
Okay.
And then the next year I came alone in Arena, Ohio, and Hauser was my and Zena, he was my roommate, man. He was my roommate, man. I didn't know he was a pastor. Right. Man, it was just two brothers in the room, just enjoying the experience, man. And it was just a great time. And I didn't know he was from Ohio, man. So Ohio, man. You guys got how many members you have in Cleveland?
I mean, it's hard to say. I'd say about 30. You know what I'm saying? 20 to 30 brothers that we have, in the fold, and and we're growing. Like, especially after the summit, so many brothers was like, how do I get connected, brother? I want to, let me know about your next meeting, next get together. It was impacted so much by this weekend, so we just gonna use this as a another launching pad to really even build it and grow it more.
Yeah. And now, what did you? I mean, being the host, overall, what did you think? I mean, because the church was spectacular, man.
Yeah, I was blown away, brother. I was blown away just by everything, man. From Thursday to Friday to, I mean, like, man, we always say it every year, but every summit gets bigger and better, and that's really has been the case. You know what I'm saying? Since we've been going to different cities, and I mean, every year it's got bigger, it's got better. And man, the what we get, the content, bro, is life-changing content. If you apply it to your life, we're talking about, everything from, finances to fathering to, just, dealing with, all the sexuality and all the different things that we have to deal with this world. I mean, you're being equipped to fight the good fight of faith. You know what I'm saying? When you come to these conferences, and then the relationships, bro, that we build, that we have, is just, man, it's amazing, brother. You know what I'm saying? I got brothers, and no matter where I go in the country, I got brothers, you know what I'm saying, that I could connect with, that I could hook up with, that, that's the thing. This is a forever brotherhood,
Yeah, that's, definitely.
Like, man, forever,
Yeah, sometimes I'll say this couple of final things, but the crazy part of it is that, sometimes you want to go to a place and you want to be an instructor, or you want to be up there to speak, right? I don't even go looking at that, right? I'm not trying to be, to be a speaker or up on the stage. I just want a fellowship, man. When I see you guys, man, I just light up. I mean, it could be in a Zoom call, right? Or we could be definitely in person, man. Right away, we just like boom, we just light up, right? And everybody's just so loving. And sometimes guys are there for the first time, right? And man, we just loving on that guy, man. And of course you want to join.
Right.
If you go to the summit, you're gonna want to join if you bring somebody there. So man, thank you for coming on. Hey, tell the people what you do, man. What's your career?
So I am the club director for an organization called Youth for Christ. Youth for Christ is a national organization, but in Greater Cleveland, we work and mentor youth for Christ. That's what we do. We mentor youth for Christ. I'm a part of the I'm under the Cleveland the Cleveland chapter part of it. And so I run a youth group and also mentor youth. Throughout the week. That's what we do. We mentor youth for Christ. What better position to be in, opportunity to mentor youth for Christ. So you can connect with us at Greater Cleveland, youthforchrist.com.org. And look us up, check us out.
Yeah, and I was in Albany, New York, and I worked for a few years at Youth for Christ in New York.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Great organization.
Yes.
Great organization. Man.
Yes.
But thanks, man. I appreciate it, man.
Yes, man.
I hope you can keep Donovan in Cleveland. although Stephen A is trying to get him to New York, but again, thanks a lot for popping on, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right.
Strong in the Lord, brother.
Strong in the Lord.
All right.
All right. We're gonna keep it rolling. Where's Chris? Where's Chris Pender at, man? Chris Pender, Senior. Chris, what's up, man? Let's see if I can't hear you. Yeah, you're not muted, so. Is your sound up? See if you can go out and come back in. I'll talk to Lafayette. Go out and come back in and check with my wife. She'll be back there with you. All right. Let's see Lafayette. Lafayette, what's up, man?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. What's
All
up,
right.
man?
All right.
Man.
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. No complaints, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I can't complain at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Man, it was great seeing you at the conference. Man, it was a great time. We didn't get to spend much time together, but it was so many brothers, man. I was like, so
yeah.
So Lafayette, talk to me a little bit about how you got involved with the King movement. I know how I got involved, but I mean, how did this come about, man? That we end up ultimately getting connected.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I found out about the King movement while I was in New Jersey. I'm originally from New Jersey, born and raised, and as life would have it, I don't want to call it luck. It's just life was just happening. I was a part of a men's organization called Fellas in Newark, New Jersey, and one of our advisors was Dr. Cheryl Hardy, and she said, "Oh, I got a son. He's doing some stuff in the community with dads, and he had a program called Saturday Dads." And I said, "I need to talk to your son." Hooked up with Al Hardy.
My man Al.
Hooked up with Al Hardy, yeah. And, Al Hardy and I became fast friends day one, and we just clicked. and I helped him out his organization, supported him, so forth and so on. On the flip side, I actually knew Chris, separate from King, just independently. And Chris was just somebody I talked to all the time. He was mentoring some young men that I was personally mentoring, and we were doing some work in local high schools. And I said, Chris, I want to get down with King. I went to a couple of meetings. We went to Seton Hall University. Seton Hall University. We had a King chapter meeting, and at that time, my house was on the market, Lowe's, and I said, I'm getting ready to move my family down to Raleigh, North Carolina. And I said, Chris, I want to join King. I want to get crowned. He said, hey, look, I got a buddy down in Raleigh, North Carolina, True Pettigrew, who is the president of the Raleigh Durham chapter of One.
Right.
It was only True chapter. And I said, okay, well, Chris, instead of me getting crowned here in Jersey, I'm going to go ahead and get crowned in North Carolina. And I moved down to North Carolina and ended up getting crowned in the Charlotte chapter in Charlotte with Steve Stack.
That's right, Stack.
And immediately president of the Raleigh Durham chapter under the leadership of True Pettigrew. And so Chris was like, and then served under True, and then obviously, as we all know, True was keep growing and growing and growing. He got a call for the Minnesota Timberwolves to come up to Minnesota and work with the NBA. Durham, where I currently serve. So honestly, I took it all the way back to Al Hardy. Through all of us independently. And the next thing I know, I'm in Cleveland at a King chapter with Al Hardy and Chris Broussard. So just kind of crazy, how all of it works, and Steve Stack too. So yeah. So
and
that's how it worked out.
And I had True on the podcast last year. I mean, we had a great show together, man, and then you were doing some charity stuff too, man. When I was at the Boys and Girls Club, you were doing some charity work, and can you quickly look like we're having a little technical difficulty. You spinning there. Can you hear me? Did we lose Lafayette?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, I can't see you, but I can hear you. You were doing some charity work around sneakers and different things like that. Tell us about that real quickly before we jump off here. Can you hear me? Lafayette. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah. So can you hear me? Okay, so tell us about the charity work you was doing around sneakers and stuff like that. When I was at the Boys and Girls Club, you was talking to me about it.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Tell me about the charity work you was doing around sneakers and different things like that. Can you hear me? Lafayette, can you hear me? I think we're going in and out. I think we got a bad connection. All right. Lafayette, can you hear me?
Okay. I was I'm affiliated with a program. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Working with a charity called It's From the Soul, and we were collecting sneakers from sponsors locally here in the United States, going around to different cities and giving them out to homeless people. and that program grew so much that we started doing it internationally. We did it even in the Middle East, even in Israel, but then we started doing it in Africa. And when we started doing it in Africa, they were asking for much bigger numbers of shoes, like literally like 1,000 pair of shoes. And from there, we start working in Uganda, Liberia, Ghana, and honestly, the continent has sort of just embraced the whole program, such that It's From the Soul is almost fully dedicated international now, and from our work that we did here in the United States. So that's been a blessing. We've added some socks now. We got some other sponsors like software companies to join us, and we're all over the continent, all over the motherland, Did a big push recently over in Nairobi, Kenya, and Tanzania.
Wow. Oh, nice job, man. I mean, see, that's what I was saying. We got King Brothers doing amazing things everywhere, right? And when you pull all that together, man, it's so powerful. And so, I'm glad to be calling you a friend, man, and a brother. So, Lafayette, I want to thank you, man, for popping on, man.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Thanks for popping on, man.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thanks for popping on, man.
Most of my domestic work that I do now is really with the King movement and also with 100 Black Men of America. That's the other organization I'm very, 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 very heavily involved in, which is 100 Black Men. So, want to give them a shout out too.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, man. God bless you, man.
And it's never a good summit unless Lowe's is in the building.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. All right. Take care, Lafayette. Yeah, where's my man Chris at? Did we get his
Yeah, I think we got it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
There you go. Minor technical glitch, man.
Yeah. All right, Lafayette. Thanks, man. Hey, Chris, man, what's going on, man?
You, man. Pleasure and honor to be here, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, let me just say, what is it? Enon.
Yeah.
Man, last year in Philadelphia was awesome. And I think last year we had the most crown members last year. I think Enon had 48 men join the King movement. Yes. 45 last year joined the King movement, man. And it was a good time. And your pastor's awesome. And he turned out the in my estimation, a lot of great speakers. I wasn't there on Saturday because I had to go to a memorial back in New York. But man, let me say something. Opening day, he set the stage. Yeah, I'm gonna let my wife listen to that one, man, because that was crazy. Oh man, and I think we had a little video. I think I had a little video up there that says 2024. It's like a quick, like the opening.
Yeah.
I think let me. So Chris, talk about how you got how you came to know King, how you guys got involved, and talk about your first. I would assume that last year at the summit was the first one.
Nah, it's a funny story. I actually don't go to Enoch, which our relationship.
Okay.
But it's funny because our relationship epitomizes King, because he trusts me because they all belong to the Philly chapter.
Okay.
And you know pastors, man, they don't let their men go anywhere. They keep them close, man. So I think that epitomizes what King represents. Funny story, when I first found out about King, Dwayne told me about it, and my first response was no. It was like, I'm already doing the work. I got my own nonprofit. So then I said, okay, I'll take it back to my guys. We talked about it, and our first response was no, prayed about it. And was kind of, what God did was God said, hey, this is a chance to be connected to something bigger than you. This is a chance to be a part of something, man, that's going across the country. And I work with a lot of men, do a lot of stuff, and we've always been so fragmented because we all go to different churches.
Right.
And God made it clear, King is an opportunity, man, to be a part of something, the name King Movement. That's really a movement, man. It's going to start to sweep the nation. So that's why I ended up coming to King. 2 no's, but I finally got there.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. Because, I'm sure that you heard my conversation earlier with Norman. And, that's the thing I try to tell pastors here, right, in the Westchester chapter. We're not a church, right? So we're men who fellowship. And I'm not looking to get your members. You know what I'm saying? So, but if you want to do something collectively, unified, fellowship where we could really impact our communities, impact the community, well, like in Mount Vernon now, Westchester, it doesn't have to just be Mount Vernon, but we want to do the entire Westchester. We think that we can go to some other counties as well, right? If we don't be afraid, if we're not afraid to join together. And that's the one thing I like. I don't know anybody since I've been in the movement. I've been in the movement, I think I was counting them down earlier, was 9 years, right? So I've been here 9 years, and I'm not met one brother, right, that was looked at Chris Broussard, who was the founder and president, and we hear a lot of Chris at the summit. We hear a lot about Chris. I've never seen one guy who's like, man, why is he getting all the accolades, right? Nobody even cares, right? We just like, oh, that's Chris, right? Because Chris is so down to earth. He talks to all of us, right? I was like, man, to be a leader of a movement, right, and to be, flexible and to be open, right? And so because he's that way, none of us are threatened, right? Mm-hmm. And we all are fellowshipping together. We just like being together. So, what did you think about Cleveland? You was in Philly last year.
And Charlotte. I was in Charlotte.
And Charlotte. Okay, I miss Charlotte.
Yeah,
I miss Charlotte. So something happened in Charlotte. I just wasn't able to make it there. But that's the only one I missed I miss Charlotte.
For me, this was by far the best one. One, for the number of men that showed up. And 2, because you just said it. I'm so used to when you get a bunch of us together in the room that everybody starts with their title.
Right.
There's like no humility whatsoever.
Right.
So here, there's not one person who was saying, I'm pastor, I'm bishop, I'm this. Everybody was on a first name basis, man. And the humility that was in the room was crazy. It was crazy. I kept telling my wife, I said, not at your level, but I've been a part of sports my whole life, man. I've been on some great teams, but this is the best group of guys I could say I've ever been around collectively. It was just amazing, man. Praise and worship, you see a bunch of guys. You're talking about 450 guys, man, singing. You go to a church, you're lucky if you get 5. Jumping up and down, after Jerome Gay preached, guys were crying.
Yeah.
Guys were getting prostate, man. It was unprompted. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't, he said, I usually don't do this. It was just an amazing time, man. Just to see that many brothers in one place, all powerful. Now, I didn't hear one negative comment the whole weekend. I was there from Thursday to Sunday, man. It was, I came back different. And as a group of us, we meet Mondays, about 30 of us in virtual call, and we were talking about it the Monday after. And to a man, everybody said the same thing, man. We left different than we got there.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to go to the memorial, so I miss Saturday, and I know it was powerful. And then, of course, being able to go to the gym after to the Rumble, the basketball tournament, and spending time around the young men, the young people that are there, and being able to walk around and talk with them and getting them the opportunity to see men, right? Men who love each other, who are humble, right? And just cheering them on, motivating them, right? Because many of us, as you know, don't have that that father figure, that father, that mentor, that coach that's been in our lives. That's why I had to go back on Saturday, because my father, mentor, since I was 9 years old, I had to go back. I told the sister, she said, enjoy yourself. I said, no, there's no way I'm missing this, right? Because of the impact that man had on my life, right? And so, man, which chapter you in?
Philly. I'm the president of the Philly chapter.
President of Philly chapter. I love it, man.
We started with 2 about 3 years ago, man. Now we're up to like 50 something. And I got about 10 more brothers who are looking to come aboard. I was just talking to a pastor Friday who how I'll push King, I'll push it as the third place. It's not about church. We all go to different churches, but it's that place when men can come and just be themselves, be transparent, man. Not just get information, but go through transformation, man, and become whole. And that's what I tell people. It's not about your church. It's not about your affiliation, man. It's about men being the best version of us that we can be.
Chris, man, that's powerful, man. And hey, give us some information on your non-for-profit, man.
Oh, man, I got a non-profit called FAMCOM, Families, Community, and Move. My wife and I run it. Serves every population from preschool to prison, including college, man. We run fatherhood programs. We do parenting programs for the Department of Human Services, some private contractors. I do PD days for school teachers, professional development days. I design, facilitate mentoring programs. So, I've been blessed, man, to be able to work with every population, but I also got a front row seat, Lowe's, to see how we got from A to Z.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's definitely different, man. We give away free toys and coats every Christmas. Last year, we blessed about 150 families. Every kid got about 5 brand new toys and a brand new coat, and we gift wrapped. So we do Thanksgiving baskets, man. So, we really hustling here, man. We doing our part, man, to kind of transform things. Yeah,
man. Thanks for popping on, man. We might have to do a show in the future, but just to talk about the non-for-profit. Each of you guys are doing some amazing things, right? We could do shows forever, just on guys from the King movement, right? So
I got to get you on mine, man, on my podcast, Above Average Black Men. That's what you see the logo behind me, bro.
Yeah.
I got to get you on, man.
Oh, well, let me know, man, anytime.
Definitely. Appreciate you, man.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you.
Strong in the Lord, bro.
Strong in the Lord. All right. I think Jonas. DC in the house.
What's going on, Brother Bull? What's going on, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. I mean, all right, I got to tell everybody this, right? I got to tell this story. So back during the pandemic, I guess, we did a virtual crowning, right? We did a virtual crowning, and my Aunt Dolores, my mother's sister, she was saying, like, my grandson, because Isaiah, my youngest son Isaiah, was crowned along with one of the other guys from the Westchester chapter, Vinny Scafano, right? He got crowned that year too as well, and you got crowned that year. And Mondelez said, yeah, King movement. I'm
right.
Like, yeah, King movement. My grandson is a part of the King movement in D.C. I'm like, what? So we had never met, right? So we go to the summit this year in Cleveland, Ohio, right? And the strangest thing, man, we get a break. I go in the bathroom. We in the bathroom, man, on the break, and somebody says, "Hey, man, start talking about Mount Vernon," and you was like, "I know somebody, this guy in Mount Vernon, Lowe's," and I was standing right there. I said, "I am Lowe's," and that's how we actually
Oh, no.
met. I know. Yeah, that was crazy, man.
And it's,
Yeah.
and
So
for me,
talk
that was one
about.
of the highlights of the trip.
Yeah, yeah, because Mom Dolores kept saying when I sent her back the pictures, and she was like, "That's my grandson." Oh, that was a good
Yes,
time,
indeed.
man.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
it was a
That
highlight,
was great.
man. That was great, man. And then next year, next year is in DC. Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
in the.
10th
It,
King Summer will be. We're excited.
yeah, it's gonna be in DC next year, and I'm excited about it, and um, yeah, it's gonna be awesome, man. So I'm looking forward to it. So talk to me a little bit about how did you come to know the King movement? Can you hear me?
Yeah. So first and foremost, thank you, Brother Moore, for having me on the podcast. I truly am honored and grateful to be here. It's a blessing. And so um, I started as a member through Dr. Spears. Dr. Spears is he was the athletic of sports at Bowie State University, and he started the DC chapter, and he invited me out. And so that's how I got involved with King. And I just started off, coming to we used to have meetings monthly here in DC at a local church, not too far from the elementary school that I attended as a youth. And so I just love the camaraderie, and I just love the connection of men together. And that's what really motivated me. And I'm so grateful to be a member of the DC chapter where our president is Bishop Dr. Frank Clinton, and our vice president is Alfonso Sawyer. So it's just been a blessing all around to connect with so many brothers here in the area to uplift Christ.
Yeah. And no. And how many summits have you attended?
All right, so I attended the first one I attended was virtual in New York with it was led by Pastor A.R. Bernard,
Whew, that's my man.
and then my first one in person was in Charlotte, and so Charlotte was amazing. I had a chance to connect with myself, my brother Omar Douglas, Bishop Clinton, and Alfonso. We drove down there, and so we got a chance to connect with each other. I didn't have a chance to go to Philly. I was on my way, and my daughter fell ill, so I wasn't able to make it. And so then I had an opportunity to go this year's to Cleveland, and it was an amazing time. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity. Yep.
Yeah. Talk about Cleveland, man, because I mean, I was there. Of course, I was there Thursday. I was there Friday. So talk about the whole experience and what you enjoyed most in regards to what was the most important thing to the summit, and then when you think about it, they had some different sessions. I mean, which one was more that stuck out to you that you got the most out of during the course of the summit?
Yeah. So funny thing, for me, this particular summit, it was more or less the fellowship. There were some very powerful sessions, but the fellowship for me was so profound. Not only did I connect with our brothers who were our DC chapter members, but we had members who were crowned this year, and which was amazing to support those brothers. But meeting you, and then having a chance to engage with you was, like I said, a highlight. Talking, I had a chance to meet Brother Al Hardy, And Brother Hardy, really inspired me during our January fast, our prayer call. And Al is just like I was like, this brother is just so on fire for the Lord. And he just was like really speaking, about the importance of brothers praying fervently. And I connected with it. And so having a chance to just meet him as he was talking to you really stood out. And then having the opportunity to meet Dr. 65, that was something that also stood out to me as well. Like having a chance to, because I'm an educator and seeing the work that he's doing. But in terms of the session, I'll say, when I walked in on Pastor Alan Waller's session was just, amazing. I didn't get a chance to preach. Was just was per excellent. I mean, his word was very profound, really ministered to me, and I was just grateful to have a chance to engage with the message that he preached.
Yeah, no, it was awesome, and Black History 365. Man, that his testimony, his story, and I got a couple of things from his table, man. They were just powerful. It's something that I have his information that I'm going to look at with my son-in-laws and my daughters. I'm going to look at with them about how do we get some of those Black history. I guess they're like encyclopedias or something like that, man. Getting them for the grandkids. Because I mean, it's just such a wealth of knowledge that, and just to hear his story, was just incredible, man.
Yeah, very profound, very. He just wants to spread the knowledge of Black history and making sure we as a people know our history, because if we don't know our history, it can really have a detriment to the value that money. That just meeting him was a session by itself, and so I was honored to engage with him, and all in all, it was just a good time in Cleveland, and I'm a better man for it.
Yeah, awesome. So tell everybody before you jump off, what you do. What's the career track?
Yeah, so I'm an author. I'm a best-selling Amazon author. I'm a librarian I'm a school library media specialist, and I support educators, with finding information services. I'm a minister. I preach God's word, and so those are the things. But I'm very in tune on just bringing sports, culture, HBCU to life, and that's what I'm all about. Just inspiring people through sports.
Oh man, we're gonna have to talk further
In
after this.
fact, this is my book, Devotion, the 21 Days. This is my book right here, and so I'm just all about inspiring people through sports, and that's what I'm all about.
Man, I'm gonna have to get the book, man. You just brought it up I'm gonna have to get that one.
You know what, your family?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna,
You make
I'm
sure
gonna
I'm
have
gonna
to
make sure I send
invest.
one up to you. It's I send one a signed copy.
All right. But I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on. We're gonna have to do this again. And we're gonna have to get together. I was in DC for one day on Sunday because my daughter and my son-in-law was in the CAA championship.
It'll be my. It'll be my. Oh yes, he said CI. Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
CAA
I'm sorry. What did you say?
championships. Yeah. I think we were there on Sunday, and my wife was there. They were there most for the whole entire weekend. But yeah, we're gonna be back up that way.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
Jonas.
Well,
Thanks,
listen,
man.
whenever you
Appreciate
come
you.
down, we'll roll out the red carpet for you. We honor you. We thank you for all the work that you're doing in the community. And again, I appreciate you and your family. And again, it's an honor to be on your show. Much love to you and the whole West.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Jonas. Love you, man. Strong in the Lord.
Love you, brother. Strong in the Lord.
All right, man. We're having a little bit of difficulties in terms of the tech. I don't. It's been a while since I had this many people on at one time, but we getting through it. And we got Pastor D, Derek Adams, right? Let's see if we can get him on as we continue with our discussion. All right. While he's Pastor D is trying to get on, right? And let me just say this, man. In the 2 days that that I actually was at the summit, they were awesome days. I mean, from the time, just to travel there, I had the opportunity to go with Pastor D, Derek Adams. I had the opportunity to go with his nephew Patrice. I think we flew together on the plane, early in the morning and got there early in Cleveland on Thursday morning and hung out and laughed and talked about sports and just talked about all kinds of things, just fellowshipping. And then we had the opportunity to go that evening to the fellowship. I had to go to a King Movement. As soon as I got there, I had an opportunity to go to the King Movement leadership luncheon. That's all the leaders of each chapter. We met for lunch and talked about the new things that are happening in King, the growth of King, and we were given some instructions and information on how we can grow our chapters and how we could be better, and got a real glimpse into the future. What the future of King looks like. And there's a couple of things, some programs, some events that King has besides just the summit. You may think, each chapter, there's some requirements for each chapter. Number one, the requirements for membership. Let me talk a little bit about the requirement for membership. You could, when I first met Chris and I went out to dinner, and we were hanging out, and he was explaining to me about, how the Lord had given this vision for the King Movement. And he also asked me if he wanted me to be a part of it. And so he talked about, it's $50 a year, which is now $100 a year membership, right? But he said most organizations, you give them the money, you give them the $50 and they give you a membership card and that's it, right? But, Chris was like, no, you have to understand. See, it says on my hat, right? And on my shirt, right? There, if you look at my hat, there's a scripture, right? And at the bottom of it, there's a scripture, right? So, and then there's colors. So the King Movement is not yes, we are kings, but it stands for knowledge, inspiration, and nurturing through God, right? So that's what the King stands for, right? We all say, oh yeah, we're kings, but this is what it stands for. Knowledge, God inspires, God nurtures, right? Us. God does that for us, right? And that's powerful all by itself. It's not about us, it's about God, right? And so that's what's so important. And then you have to know that. You have to know the mission and purpose of the King Movement, right? You have to know the colors, the black, the platinum or silver, the purple. You have to know what those things stand for. And then the scriptures, there's about 4 scriptures. You have to know those scriptures. So you just can't come in, right? You just can't come in and just, here's my $50 or here's my $100 and now I'm king. No, there's a responsibility with King. So you just can't just jump in. And so that's what you were seeing, I think when you see all those men, I think my wife has some pictures, right? My wife has some pictures of guys on the stage, right? We got a bunch of guys on the stage in suits, right? It's the black, white shirt, purple tie, right? And so you see all those guys right there. All of them were Crown members, right? All of those guys are Crown members, right? And you have to, you have to take a test. I mean, test is not that hard, right? If you get a chance to study. If you don't study, man, test can be hard. When I was going down to my first summit with Dr. Sherelle and I, we were on the plane, right? We were on the plane talking about, hey, did you study your stuff? Did you know what the colors stand for? So on the plane we started pulling out this paperwork, and we started to study. You got to study. It's not that hard, but you have to study. You have to know the mission. You have to know the vision, right? You have to know the purpose. You have to know the scriptures. You have to know the colors and what they stand for, right? I mean, and then and it's not just knowing it, right? Ultimately, you have to live it. I mean, that's the most important thing, is that eventually you have to put this to practice. And so one of the major things about the King movement, and particularly the local chapters, is fellowship. That's the one thing we want to do, is we want to fellowship with each other. We want to get to know each other, right? And we want to help each other build our relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. We want to help each other grow in Christ, right? And then we want, in the mission, we want, right, to get to know God better. But we also, right, number one, we want to be the man God has called us to be to ourselves. We want to be that man in our homes, for our wives, for our children, for our community, right, for our nation, and for this world. We want to represent Christ, right? And that's the power of the King movement, right? And so it's an incredible experience. And what you've been hearing tonight is that it's not about Lowe's Moore. I'm in the first thing when I joined and wanted to start the Westchester chapter, right? I wanted a quick succession plan, right? Because there are many brothers like myself that are older now, and we want to be advisors. We want to be support to young guys that have a passion to do something for God, right? And so we wanted a quick succession plan. It hasn't happened yet, for us here in Westchester, right? I'm still kind of just pulling teeth with men, right? But I want men to come together in fellowship, right? And then we want to have an impact. We want to have an impact in our home. We want to have an impact in our churches, and we want to have an impact in our communities. And we want to get together with all these brothers that you've seen, these other 19 chapters you've seen, and we want to get together and we want to make a movement, right, to impact the world. So, it looked like we got Pastor D on, and we got Patrick.
Yes. How you
doing? Is there a king in the house? There are kings in the house.
Kings in the house in the kingdom.
Yeah. No. So, I don't know if you got a chance to hear any of the other guys. I had Norman on, and Lafayette, and Jonas was on, and Chris Pender. So we had Lafayette in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. He's the president of the chapter down there. We Lafayette, and then we had Chris Pender. He's in the the Philadelphia chapter, right? He's in the Philadelphia chapter. Then Jonas is in D.C., right? Oh man, so and then we had Norman. He was like our host.
Yeah, Norm. I remember Norm.
Cleveland. Yeah. So we were at the summit, the national summit, and so Pastor D, last year you got a chance. Talk a little bit about, you got a chance to pop in last year to the summit in Philly, right? Talk about your experience. You heard me talk about, as in the Westchester chapter, you heard me talk about the King movement all the time. But just going to the summit, what was your thoughts about last year's summit when you popped in?
All right. Last year in Philadelphia, when I got there, I was just basically really just wanted to check it out and just to see what it was all about. And my mind was blown. I just love the fellowship of just men coming together, not only on a natural basis, but also on the spiritual spectrum also, right? And the combination of putting all of that together and just applying that to our lives, our everyday lives. What I've gotten out of that was just to be a better father, a better husband, a better brother, a better uncle, and just a better overall man in general. But I just love the the fellowship with all the men, and hearing things from a male perspective really stuck with me.
Awesome. I think last year one of the interviewers had a powerful testimony, was the Hall of Fame. What's his name?
Oh yeah. What's my man's name?
That's my man from Philly.
He's from Philly, yeah. He played with the
Brian Westbrook.
Westbrook, yeah, that's Westbrook, and the other one was
Eddie George, right?
Eddie George,
yeah, and
Eddie George was there too as well, and two Hall of Fame football players were there, amazing, yeah,
and also they were talking about mental health.
You're talking about 2024. It was a big thing on mental health. Yeah. So talk about this year's experience. Patrick being there for the first time, right? You being there for the first time.
Brian Dawkins. Yeah, my fault.
Brian Dawkins.
It was Brian, though.
Okay, Brian Dawkins.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. He was the keynote speaker of the luncheon. We had a luncheon last year in Philadelphia. He was the keynote speaker there. Powerful testimony. And then Eddie George, man, that was incredible, man. What he talked about in regards to his experience with his father. that was crazy. And then this year, talk about some of the highlights for you guys. I was up, I was with you guys from Thursday and Friday, and then you guys were there for the rest of the time. So talk about some of the highlights and the experiences you had, at the conference in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm Patrick. Y'all can hear me good?
Yeah, hear you good.
All right.
Good.
Yeah, so I didn't know what to expect. I actually almost canceled. Because there was another event going on in California. But I felt like it was meant for me to be there. It was where I was supposed to be. And I thank God that I kept that same energy and attitude and made it there, and I embraced it. I didn't know what to expect, but I gained a lot of knowledge and energy, and I got closer to God. I'm still a raw individual that is every day that I wake up, I'm getting more spiritual. I'm getting more in tune with myself, and this kingdom movement, when I actually got there and understood and saw little things, I was able to let go of certain things and embrace what they were giving, the energy and everything. Being able to talk and listen. I cried a little that you left that Saturday, but I even vented to not even vented, but I even opened up to my uncle. Me and my uncle were very alike, you know what I mean? And sometimes we butt heads. But I was truthful that Saturday. I was open. I was able to be open to talk to him. I was, tearing up a little bit, and it was a good understanding, and it was a good time. I got emotional. I was able to let go some tears, because as men sometimes we try to, we're taught to be tough. Like, you can't cry, you can't do this. But I actually had my moment. I just let go of everything that I was going through, and I let God come into me. And it was very inspirational, just like the King acronyms: knowledge, inspiration, nurturing through God. And I actually understand it and embrace it. And as you said earlier, something that you have to live by. And I'm excited to tell other people about it.
Wow.
Because some people were like, oh, you going to what? Or you going to? I'm like, yo, nah, actually, this is actually a dope movement. This is actually a dope. I can you get what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the experience, and I'm a living testimony to be able to let other people know, like, yo, nah, this is something you want to get down. Actually had other friends that last minute. I'm sorry, I had a call come in. I had some friends that actually, after I told them about it, they actually wanted to come. So, I explained them to whatever I went through and understood they're going to be there for next year.
Right.
So, yeah, it was a very dope experience.
Yeah.
I
No.
got a lot from it.
And I'm sure you got to. I wasn't there on Saturday, but I'm sure the my first one of my first experience. I went to Chris's house out at in Jersey, and when I got there, it was like 150 men there. He had a barbecue, and what I seen was to see the young guys, and then the older guys, and so they was in the backyard playing 3-on-3, right, and then they start. Everybody thought they was a rapper, man. So they started spitting. I mean, and these guys are really good. I don't know nothing about rap, man. Rap was just coming on the scene when I was a young guy, man. I was in college trying to graduate,
Yeah.
but they was getting down. They was throwing down, and then Chris was throwing down, and the older guys were throwing down. And so that's one of my favorite parts of the summit is the rap concert, to see everybody
Okay.
get up and try to get up and spit. All the older dudes are trying to spit, and man, it's so inspirational to see the young, the bridging of the
Of all
ages.
ages and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming together and brothers just respecting each other.
Yeah.
It's just so powerful, man.
What
And
I
then,
I'm
okay,
sorry. I was gonna say what I loved about it. It wasn't no ego. It wasn't no. Everybody was saying hello, and being from where we from, New York and stuff like that, we always gotta have that mean mug or act like we ain't can talk. And it was I'm okay with doing that, because me being a DJ and being a public figure in areas, I talk to people. But it was dope to be able to, you just look somebody in the eye, hey, how you doing? You look somebody, hey, how you doing? Give them a hug, give them a handshake, and it don't matter who it is, white, black, Spanish, or
Right.
whoever. You know what I mean? And it was very dope, and I like to be around that energy.
yeah. Well, we got to create that energy here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the kind of
that's the main
thing.
thing.
Yeah, is and so creating the chapters like that, where we can come together and fellowship and create that energy, where we can really enjoy this, these experiences, and then man, we fired up when we go into, the summit is even more powerful, right? And I mean, like I just met Chris in Philadelphia. I mean, it's like
Okay.
it's like I thought, like I met Chris like 6-7 years ago, and I just met Chris
Yeah.
last year in Philadelphia. I mean, it's just such a powerful experience, right? And that's what we got to get in Westchester. We got to get that experience, and we need guys like ourselves to be able to share that with people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
so and Pastor D, you was pointing out, yeah, the mental health part of it was a really, really good, segment. There was a
Yeah.
lot of good segments in regards to the issues of sex. There was a lot of good things in terms of the issues of mental health, fatherhood. I mean, Lawrence Funderburg.
Thunderbird, yeah.
Yeah, that was so powerful, man.
Yeah. He was trying to.
It was a whole wealth of knowledge, and he was intense.
He was
was really
intense.
intense about this.
Yeah,
thing.
if you shook one, you'll probably be shook.
Yeah, and Teresa's showing a couple of things there. You know, we started out with doing the summit, and then there was the creation, right? Now that's King Talk, right? These three guys on a weekly basis, they on King Talk. I mean, Aaron Carr, True Pettigrew, and Adam Coleman. These are the three guys. And then, you know, this is at the, I think this is the one that's at the NFL. You know, I was at the Super Bowl when in Atlanta, right? In Atlanta with and we had at Morehouse College, and they had 12 NFL Hall of Famers giving their speaking to 250 of Morehouse's football, basketball, and young men that went to college there, and they were giving their testimony about the impact that Christ has had on their life. So they do that every year at the Super Bowl. Now, you don't get no Super Bowl tickets. I was fortunate that me and my wife, we had Super Bowl tickets. So we were there for the Super Bowl, and we went to Morehouse. And it was just so impactful. And then they created every year now, at every Super Bowl, there is a breakfast. Every Super Bowl, an all-day thing with the King movement. And then now the NBA. Now the NBA has its own breakfast where they give out awards, during the NBA All-Star weekend, right?
Okay.
And so it's been a lot of things. The King movement is growing and growing and growing. Has a beautiful relationship with the NFL, and it has a beautiful relationship with the NBA as well. So, yeah, and something when we all come together, man. It's just something powerful, about that experience, man. So, that's the NBA right there. And then the Rumble is after every Saturday evening during the summit, there's a tournament. I think they had about 80 teams, if I'm not mistaken. They had about 80 teams in the tournament, the Midnight Rumble in Cleveland. It was about 80 teams, and I think the church, the Word Church, hosted it themselves, and it was good to go around. And when I was in Memphis, we were in Memphis during the celebration of the 50th year of the death of Dr. King. I mean, we had the basketball tournament, man. It was a powerful experience just going over to the motel and going through that whole experience with Dr. King. And it was just a powerful. The summits are just powerful, man. I mean, I mean, even I wish we had it in New York. I wish we could do it again, hosted by Dr. A.R. Bernard at the Christian Cultural Center. It was. We did it virtual, but man, it's been incredible, an incredible experience. And it was an incredible experience to be with you guys for the days that I was there. That was awesome.
Thank you for the dessert. You know what I mean? Appreciate the dessert.
No. That was my pleasure, man.
And I feel like it'll be back in New York because it seems like it's growing more and more now. So each and every time, I feel like it's gonna get bigger and better.
That's right.
And you're gonna reach out to we're gonna have that Westchester. I'm gonna speak it into existence. We're gonna have that Westchester chapter rocking and rolling real soon, As long as I do my part, Pastor D do his part, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Collaborative thing. We're gonna do this together.
That's right. It's gonna be awesome.
All of
man.
us. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, man, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I think our time is up. But I do I hope out there, for all those who are listening, this is Lowe's Moore. I'm on the Blueprint Podcast on Facebook and YouTube. Now, we're always talking about, We need things for our young men to do. We need things for our husband to do. We need things for men to do, right? And the King movement, right? And I'm in Westchester. There's a chapter in New York City. There's a chapter in Jersey. If you're in Jersey, Philadelphia, Westchester, right? Westchester. We're Westchester, but Detroit, L.A., San Antonio, of course, Cleveland, right? Memphis, Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, there are chapters all over. I mean, if you happen to be in the area, you know somebody in that area, and you got a young man or a man that needs to be in a fellowship, a strong fellowship with godly men, right? Check out the King movement. So I want to end on this note here. I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Man, I love you guys, but I want to finish with the King movement anthem.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
We're going to show this King movement anthem. I'm closing out now. I will not be back. Pastor D will not be back. Patrick will not be back, right? But I look forward to seeing you guys next week. James Jimmy Jones.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to pay tribute to him next week. We're going to have a bunch of guys come on and talk about him, man. Yeah, so check out this anthem, the King movement anthem, and I'll see you guys.
All right.
You got any questions? You got a question?
No, I was just saying the Blueprint podcast. Make sure you check that each and every Sunday. You know what I mean? The Lowe's, he does his thing. Lowe's more, love ya. Thank y'all. Have a good night.
All right, man. All right, here's the anthem, and check out the King movement, and I'll see you next week. God bless you.
All right.
And have a good evening.
I brought the Kings with me on this one. It's a movement. Yeah. I had a dream. I saw black slaves in 2018, pulling the big king with a crown in the middle, looking like tug of war. I guess they forgot the inheritance of the Lord, dying over streets when God gave him the earth. It's all in the Bible, just do your research. White man's religion, that's just fake news. The cross hit Africa for Europe even knew. This ain't black versus white, this is dark versus light. But racism might distract you from the Christ on sight. So here's the Visine, me and my team. Dark world, but we flipping on a high beam. King, K is for the knowledge, I is to inspire. N for the nurture, the G is to grow higher. Jesus lit the match, so we all on fire. You see a crown on the attire, know you looking at a fighter.
My people, we're ready to mount up like an eagle. Stand and fight against evil. A system rigged and deceitful. King, you can hear it when I rhyme. I'm a king, renewed in my mind. I'm a king, I got a different bloodline. I'm a king, jump, I am a king.
Yeah, I am a king all day. Mansa Musa. How we got the fruit of the spirit when the land produced us. Yeah. See the Abraham now planted in good soil, anointed with the oil, the Father now calls us royal. Tell me what's a king without wisdom and purity? Face your insecurities, that's what we call maturity. Yeah, the Father is with us, the go be his witness, the model is business. Forgive us when we don't honor our sisters. The great transition is him taking us from boys to men. Go check my resume, homie, we all linked in. And we network with the fam, all across the continent, boasting in our righteousness, more than our accomplishments. But we stand confident, all up in that grace, even with the enemy, all up in my face. When one man falls down, there's two to pick him up. A 3-quart bond, it's hard to break us up.
My people, we're ready to mount up like an eagle. Stand and fight against evil. A system rigged and deceitful. King, you can hear it when I rhyme. I'm a king, renewed in my mind.
Hallelujah.
I'm a king, I got a different bloodline.
Salute.
King, jump, I am a king. I'm a king.
Royal priesthood, I'm hood. Nevertheless, my ancestors died serving they good. Nevertheless, every slave that died as a child of God went to heaven in the sky. Persecuted, what better way to arrive? Carrying their train, running to the throne, lifting up the veil. Most of their slave masters caught a H-double-L. This crown is not physical, but you know it's there. Like you cannot see oxygen, but feel it in the air. Yeshua, blood moolah, gave me God's image, born again. Divine is my umbilical cord, I'm authentic. I'm not a king cause of the color of my face. I'm king cause I'm from the bloodline of David by God's grace. There's no Jew or Gentile in this wild kingdom. Just lions who invited the I am, and we gon' triumph. I finally understand how to be a man. These drug addict rappers can't teach me the Father's plan. And them clan members gon' all fall into God's hands. Hebrews 10:31, his kingdom come.
My people, we're ready to mount up like an eagle. Stand and fight against evil. A system rigged and deceitful. King, you can hear it when I rhyme. I'm a king, renewed in my mind. I'm a king, I got a different bloodline. I'm a king, jump, I am a king. I'm a king.
That impacts the criminal justice system, Heavenly Father. Yes. You said we should pray that thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, in America as it is in heaven, in Atlanta and Charlotte and New York and New Jersey and throughout this nation as it is in heaven.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke, I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant